Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you happen to be around the world. So glad you've decided to join us today for office hours here on Agency Success with Hosting.com. My name is Nathan Ingram. I'm the host here at Office Hours, joined as always by my friend Cory Miller. How are you, Cory?
Hey, pretty good, pretty good.
Cory is the chief evangelist for the Hosting.com team, and really glad that he has made this space for us to talk about all the questions we have regarding agencies. A lot of times it's technical questions, many times it's business questions, but we always like to get started with a little discussion of WordPress news. I have a pretty important thing to talk about as we get started today. Before we do that, though, I do want to drop in our link to ask questions. We have a form to collect those office hours questions, and we take those in the order that they are received. Are currently 9 questions in the list, so we might be able to get to a few more. But if you have a question, let me encourage you to go ahead and complete that form and get that question in the list. By the way, you can save that link and use it anytime. That form is open 24/7. And so as you're doing some work and you have a question, you can just go right over there to WP Nathan and click the Ask a Question button and drop that question in at any point during the week. Doesn't have to be today. Let's get started talking about something that I learned about earlier this week, and that is a very important change in the WordPress release schedule. So you may recall that earlier this year, actually not too many months ago, it was announced that WordPress core was dialing back the frequency of core updates. We were having 4 a year or 3 a year in some years. And they made the announcement they were going to dial that back to 1 per year simply because of the drop in contributor hours, because of all of the things happening in the recent unpleasantness in WordPress. So that is now changed, and they are, because of the uptick in contribution hours that have happened recently, the core team believes they'll be able to fit in another major release for this year. And so the announcement was made on the 28th. So that was what, Monday, Tuesday, Monday. On Monday morning, that WordPress 6.9 will be released on December the 2nd of 2025. So I think this is good news, period. Just to see more development happening in the WordPress space. There's a lot of tech, bigger than WordPress tech industry chatter about maybe we're seeing the decline and downfall of WordPress with a slowed schedule and so forth. So we're back up to 2 this year now. So that's a good thing in general. So take a quick peek through the roadmap here, and let me just copy this link if you all would like to see that in your own browser. The link is there in the chat. And Cory, just jump in on any of these that you want to jump in on.
I'm with
And
you. I'm with you. I love this. Another release is a good news that should ripple through the community and to our clients for sure.
indeed, absolutely. So this, as with many of the core releases recently, is focused more on the site editor. And so some of these changes you won't see unless you're using a full site editing aware theme, which most themes still are not, making use of the site editor in many of these changes. I think we'll see more and more mainstream themes bringing that in, but we're still not terribly broad support for full site editing yet. So some of these things, again, the template management, some changes in how the site editor works, going back and forth from page editing into the bigger picture of headers and footers and all the things the site editor does. They've done a really good job with smoothing out that experience over the past few releases. One of the interesting things that will be available in broader core is the ability to hide blocks. This is really helpful because what that will let you do is build out sections on pages and actually have the page still published, but this block, this row, this whatever can be hidden from public view. So this is a really good thing that's going to let you develop pages live, but still have a portion waiting on client approval, for example. So that's pretty cool. I do like that. And you can click and read more about that feature at this link. There are a number of that, by the way, I think is part of the preparation for the collaboration features that are coming in this current phase of Project Gutenberg, where you'll be able to interact with people editing the same page. So the vision big picture is not to have that message that pops up, hey, you can't edit this page because this other person is editing it. And it'll be more like if you've ever used a tool like Figma and you have two people looking at the same page, you see their cursor and what they're doing. That's what WordPress, that's the goal of what WordPress is going to be, to have collaborative editing. So there's a lot of features in this release that are sort of building towards that. One of those is block level commenting, which is kind of cool, like a newsroom needing an editor to review a post for a writer before publishing and leaving a comment at the block level. That's kind of cool.
Okay, I
Uh,
love that right
yeah,
there because, Medium has a really good system where you can like comment because, you read a long blog post and you have to wait till the end. That's pretty cool.
yeah, it really is. And again, all of these have more links if you want to read more about each specific thing. Now, I'll tell you, probably the most important piece of this, uh, most important. All of this is important, but the command palette is something I think if in 2 years from now, as we look back on WordPress and the development where we are today, my suspicion is we'll be saying the command palette is now one of the greatest things in WordPress. Because especially if you enjoy keyboard navigation. So a hotkey brings up this modal that lets you do all sorts of things. And the interesting part of this, the command palette's been around for a few releases, but the interesting part of this is now they're starting to integrate command palette with future AI integration points and the abilities AI. Now, we talked a little bit about this beginning news roundup last week about all the changes the AI team is going to make. What they're doing here is they're going to integrate AI with the command palette. The possibilities there could be endless for generating content, doing some things. But using command palette, it's going to be a very light implementation, I think, to WordPress as a whole.
And maybe something like an agent, a chat agent could go in and do things. Okay.
Yep. Yep. They're laying the foundation for some really clever developer build outs on this. Yeah. So Abilities AI, that's the Abilities API, that's the AI team's work. Interactivity AI. You may notice that WordPress as core has sort of lagged behind some other builders like Webflow and others with those little micro interactions. And so interactivity AI is being introduced and continued to be built out to deal with to give those sorts of micro interactions a place to hook in. Yeah, there's a lot more here, a lot of performance improvements, of course. The performance team has done some good work. Those are going to be rolled into core. Um, a lot is being worked on the back end for WordPress, the improvements of the WordPress admin area. That's also part of this phase of Project Gutenberg. There's a lot of other things here as well. I'm going to drop this link in the chat again one more time if you haven't had a chance to look at it. But I'm excited about WordPress 6.9, and I'm also very grateful that it's not hitting on Thanksgiving weekend here in the U.S. like they've done in the past, and give us a little time before the holidays. So I'm happy about that. Cory, any final thoughts before we get into some questions?
I love the chat integration, chat or AI integration work. That's WordPress really thinking ahead and integrating. And I know Matt said that Moenweg before, and for good reason. I mean, if you think about the history of the internet or the history of humans, okay, our species on the planet, whatever you feel, it's a long time. Look at that bar that goes out, and then you look at this little blip called the internet, and it's just still in the infancy, right? If you look at human history, most amazing communication tool ever invented, WordPress was the reason why it rapidly expanded. If you look at just that chart, you go to the web, it's because WordPress. So this is two paths meeting each other, understanding we got to keep evolving as a software in a community to meet there. But That's exciting to me. The abilities AI stuff, that's pretty cool.
Indeed. Well, all right, folks, let's get to your questions. I'm going to drop in the link here one more time. There are 10 questions in the list right now, and we'll start with one question we didn't get to last week, and that is from Class. Class. Did you get this solved already, Class? It was a question about MetaBox custom fields. So Class has some MetaBox custom fields, and it's a portfolio custom post type created with MetaBox, custom field text area for the solution. This is the end result I want, text with paragraphs. Okay, let's take a quick look. Okay, text with paragraphs. Got it. I display the portfolio post with a cadence element custom template. I pull in the field content of solution with a dynamic HTML block to get the text to show up as paragraphs and not just block of text. You have to add p tags. Yeah, that's annoying. Is that the best way to do it? No, use the WYSIWYG uh, field in MetaBox. So you can, do we have a, yeah, we've got a team custom post type there that I can edit. Let's take a quick look, or actually I need custom fields, sorry. And so what you could do is turn that, this is a text area, like you currently have the solution text is set up as a text area. Is that right, class? And so just turn this into WYSIWYG. And what that's going to do is just put in a tiny MCE block. So now when we go to add a team, some team information, what you'll notice here is we still have the editor on, but down, like you'll see here, there is actually the a WYSIWYG block. So it'll carry over your p tags and all of that. Do you have other, so it's a portfolio tag class, you said. Do you have other blocks of text that you're going to use as well? Yeah. So this is what I would do. I would go into, just to clean things up, I would go into the custom post type if you haven't done this already, and just you can actually turn off the editor. You can do this in not only MetaBox, but most other custom post type creators like Pods or ACF. And here in the supports area, I'll just toggle off the editor. And now all I'll see when I get here is just my team details, which for you would be solution, or then now you can do the problem, the solution, whatever the thing is you're trying to do. And that will carry all your HTML markup. It'll let you do links and so forth, just like Tiny MCE does. So does that make sense, class? Great. That should be fairly easy. And you don't have to change anything. You can just change the field type and all your field data will carry over into it. And then you can just mark it up. All right. Next question is from Sherry. Hey, Sherry. So a question about daily rituals and project processes. I keep finding myself starting to lose track of where I left off in a project. Yeah. A new project comes in, I get started on it, make updates, and another project comes in, and I set aside the previous one for a day or two. And by the time I get to it, I've lost all sense of what and where I was doing. Okay, pausing for a moment. Anybody relate with Sherry about this challenge? Yeah, especially if you're a solo practitioner and you are the person doing all the things. It's easy to be 3 days later and go, oh, I totally forgot to follow up or do this or whatever. Okay, good. So Sherry, you're in good company. So Sherry says, I have Nifty, which is a project management tool. That's actually the same one we use in my agency. I've been finding it feels like more work learning it, and then I can revert back to manually doing and tracking stuff. Okay, yes. So let's pause here just for a minute. Now, Beth Livingston is here. Beth knows a lot about project management, and she and I have the same thought about this. It's not about the software, right? And all project management software is terrible. Like it just is. You have to find the one you hate the least and just use it. And use it consistently. Find something that you'll use consistently. We love Nifty. It's really good for collaboration in the agency. Before that, I used Trello. it worked better for me. And I had to really change some things to get into Nifty, but we were losing track of things in Trello and it became more difficult to deal with. So again, it's not about the magic software. It's about something that you can make yourself like enough to use and then just making a commitment to use it all consistently. Um,
I love what you
so
said about the best project management system is the one you hate the least. And I wanted to say e-commerce too.
yeah, oh yes, absolutely. Like it's all terrible.
You're
It's
right
all
on.
terrible.
And I love this too. I want to share in just a second, but you're right on. To keep going, Nathan, I want to.
Okay. And now class is mentioning Notion. No, especially if you're solo. Notion is amazing. Now it's kind of got blank page syndrome of it's really overwhelming until you really get into it. Um, but yeah, there's so many tools you can use for this. But the question is, all right, how do you um, how do I keep or how should we keep track of things so we don't lose them, right? So let's see what Sherry's currently doing. My current process, I make notes in the project folders, plus I save emails and Zoom summaries in the project folders too. Still this is just analog with digital fingerprints. Seems like I'm winging it all the time. I need a process I can repeat with every project and how I manage and document where I'm at and what's next to do, which brings me back to Nifty or any other project management software. I don't know why I struggle with this so much. If a client wants me to use their platform, I can, but I'm not the one setting up the project in their platform. I'm sent a link, etc., etc. Okay, so Sherry, the first question is, um, in order to be consistent with using a software to manage your process, you first have to have a consistent process. Period. So it's hard to create checklists and repeatable things if those things don't exist. So that's my first thing, Sherry, is do you have a consistent project process that you use for every project, every client, every time? Because that's where you start. Now, the good thing is coming up in just a couple weeks, let me get those links in. I've got a live stream. It's the second link in that bundle I just posted in chat for systems equals success. And I'm going to give you a tool to build systems and all of that, right? So that's where you start. What does your website project look like? And from there, you have a set of repeatable checklists that you can do, right? So, what does it look like in a big picture in your phases? And, like for us, it's content phase, design phase, development phase, launch. That never changes. That's the order. And then each one of those has certain checklists, like how do we spin up a starter site? How do we have a process that we use to collect content from the client. We've got a launch process. So there's different processes that live inside this system, but you've got to be consistent about it. Otherwise, yeah, it's really hard to do. You'll lose track of everything. So that's Sherry, was there another nuance to this question? Okay, so you said your process isn't documented, it's in your head. That's step one. And literally just take a minute. Don't even try to put this in software yet. Use pen and paper and just write it down. What is the flow? And or a whiteboard or whatever you feel most comfortable with. Then decide what is the software that's going to help me do this the easiest. What we tend to do as like I will absolutely self-identify as a geek. And what those of us who are lovingly call ourselves geeks will do is we will find this incredible piece of software and we will try to, um, try to, like, that's the thing we try to use and make everything else fit. It needs to be the other way around of this is what I'm trying to do and what software best supports that process that I have. Yeah. So Sherry, was that helpful? There's so much conversation in the chat. This is really good. Yeah, process first. Thank you, Beth. Yeah, so the checklists are needed, Sherry, but first, what's the 10,000, like zoom way up? What's the 10,000-foot view of what this process needs to look like, right? Um, and that's kind of what we did in the last live stream on Tuesday, talking about problem clients and looking especially at our um, getting clarity on our processes. And I gave you that little game board map of walking a client through a website build. We'll do more of that in a couple of weeks in this next live stream, but you need to get the 10,000 foot view of how every project should flow. And like 100%, every single project, whether it's a brand new build or whether it's a rebuild of an existing website, always starts with content. It's got to start there because so much else depends on that. So yes, start there, and then you can build out processes to support the bigger vision. All right, great question, Sherry. Thank you so much for asking that. That provoked many chats in the chat. Anything you want to add to that before we move on, Cory?
Oh, sorry, you are the process king, and I defer to you. I love the way you have things organized, but no, right on.
Awesome. All right, next question is from Slavi. Slavi, I don't think I see you in the chat, but we will endeavor to answer your question. Question is regarding marketing and how I should approach promotion and maybe come up with a marketing strategy for my WordPress related SaaS products. Okay, this might fall into Cory's circle a little better than mine. I have some ideas, but I wanted to see things from your perspective if you are answering that kind of question. Sure, we'll give it a try. WPDemo.net is for WordPress plugin and theme developers that sell plugins and themes and want to give a quick, fast demo. Sandbox.net related to staging WordPress sites. So the question is, and let's just take this from a broad perspective, maybe, Cory,
Yeah.
is let's say you've got a SaaS product. And by the way, I know a lot of people who started out as solos who maybe went to an agency and they built something interesting for their own agency and they decided I could sell this to other agencies. That's what I did with Monster Contracts, and some other people have done different things with other tools. And so they've kind of moved from a services world into a product world, and that's a pretty natural thing to do if you've got a little piece of something you've created, which it sounds like that's what Slavi did here. So what advice do you have for people who are trying to get some attention on a product like this, besides asking an office hours question in a live stream?
Hey, I love these kind of questions, so
Yeah.
thank you. This is my area, not not agency work. So I defer to you all. I talk about business, entrepreneurship, those kind of things. This one, though, I love it. The first and biggest thing, and it's the bell I try to ring at hosting.com and everywhere I've been since, is who really is this for? Who's the customer? And so if you go an agency owner or whatever that is, pushing down on that and really getting deep into who the person on the other side that would buy this, if you skip that step, everything else we can talk about is going to be wobbly, and some may work, but others may flop, and you'll be coming back over and over. I've seen it over, see, 20 years being an entrepreneur doing this type of work. So one thing we do here, and I do today too, is really understand who is the person on the other side that's going to click the box to pay. Now, we obviously identified it as you all, agency owners. Okay. Same process though for you marketing this is if you get a clear picture of that. So let's just put Nathan in this for a second. Hosting.com, agency customer, it's Nathan Ingram. Now, when I think about Nathan, everything lights up for me. I go, oh, I know how Nathan operates. He's highly organized. He's going to want to go efficiently for what we're doing. So that avatar persona work is so vital. But let me push it down. What you see on the veneer mostly is avatar and persona and do demographics and do this stuff. Now, for I bet 15 years, Nathan, whether it was iThemes, Post Edit, or now hosting.com, when I think about, okay, we go agency, that's our avatar, right? The person that lights up in my mind every time is Nathan Ingram. So if I know Nathan and I know there's a bunch of Nathan types, then we go back up to the category. Then I got a way to market that. But all that to say, it's putting on the VR headset of your clients and going, now you're doing your avatar work first, right? And then going, what is Nathan trying to solve He's on this journey, but my little part is he's going to need to buy hosting, you know? But really, he's trying to run a business. He's trying to live a life, a remote life where he gets to do more of things. So see how it just lights it up? But so put your avatar, who you're thinking right here, and I'll ask more questions. But if you get that one right, then if it's, I'm going to presume it may be for agency owners. So the actual practical advice today beyond spend the next couple of days just working on the person in your mind. Now, one person might be the one you look in the mirror. That's cool. Find another because you need some perspective on this. But the others, I would say, is okay. So if you say agency owner, okay, you don't have to say the names, whatever else, that's for you. Then you go, where do they hang out, which is the normal marketing. But for this, if you're what you're talking about with WordPress, the adminbar.com, go get a Barfly membership today and do not sell, just support and hang out and ask, see what people are interested around your product. The next one is, of course, stay here. And then poststatus.com. And Nathan, you might have some others, but being there, I look at so many successful entrepreneurs in WordPress, but outside, and they really went to the people. That's why this avatar works. So Nathan Ingram is a dear friend of mine. Like he's not my customer, he's a friend of mine. I've hung out with him, but he lights it up for me. But I like being and hanging out with Nathan. So if you like that work you do, that avatar, this is easy because you're going to want to hang out at the admin bar or the Facebook page or start your own, whatever that is. And from this, I'm telling you, then you can come back and we can talk about even more marketing stuff. If you have something specific for me or Nathan, please list that out. But I get lit up on this stuff. So I go, oh, I got something I can actually talk about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And just so for the chance that anyone who's on the live stream just zoned out for a minute, the advice here is gold, and it's no different than what we're doing at the agency level selling to clients. Because I go back to my loving identity as a geek. I learned how to do some clever thing, and now I want to try to sell people that thing. Or I bought this new SaaS tool, and I want to sell that to my customers. Now I'm in the selling mode of trying to convince them that they need it. And that's not where you want to be. Instead of starting with the thing and then trying to get our customers to realize they need that, we need to flip that around and say, what is it that my customers need? And how can I, as a geek, figure out a technical solution? Pardon me, figure out a technical solution to meet that need. Then you don't have to do selling at all. You just have to let people know it exists. And they're like, yes. And then when you're using avatars like Cory was just describing, of really picturing people in your mind and who they are, boom, you'll see what they need. And the sales process will be a lot easier.
It'll
So
be
it's like,
magical because you'll speak their language.
yeah. And well, that's marketing. What we're talking about is marketing. It good marketing makes sales almost unnecessary, right? So like if my
Exactly.
product fits my market, it's like, well, just make sure the checkout process works.
I want to camp out because marketing all day, every day, you all have this marketing stuff. Not so much sales, that's Nathan more, but marketing, I love that jam. Oh, can I do something real quick with you, Nathan, on the live stream here for a second?
Sure.
Because I've been wanting to share this and talk to this to agency owners about this. And if anybody wants to give this a try, I'd love to see how it goes in actual practice. So we say avatars. We know that, right? So converting this over to agency work, I go, okay, we always talk about the ideal client, the best clients. We want more, right? They probably have a couple of things in common, like they pay, they pay well, and they trust you as an expert. But I want to do this exercise. So as I asked Nathan this question, put it in the chat or just think about it for a second. Nathan, what were the best, when you think about in your 30-year career as an agency owner, as an entrepreneur, three clients that stand out to you? The best, the Hall of Fame. And maybe I can shorten it last 2 years if you needed to. Now you all do the same. Think about this for a second. Think about the ones you're like, hell yeah, if I had three more of these, my life happiness would go up, my bank account, all those things. Three names. So is everybody kind of doing this too? Tell me when you're ready, Nathan.
I'm ready.
Okay. I want you, just give me a first name, initial of all three.
Let's see. David S, Elizabeth G, and let's say Ben M.
Okay, everybody, think about those names for a second.
Would
Your
you agree with
names.
that list, Chris?
Not Nathan, but everybody else. Just think about that list for a second. Hold those three.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Cory? Can everybody hear me okay, or is it me that's got a problem? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He's frozen. This was going to be fun too. Oh no. Horrible.
Can you hear
Uh,
me?
hey, there he is. You're back. Okay, we have the three names in our head.
Okay, three names in your head. Okay, Nathan. I can't remember your names, but you do. But think about what do they have in common? Just two or three things they had in common.
Yeah. So they are not afraid to invest money and they trust our expertise.
Okay, those are two. Do you feel like those come from their voices? Did they use words investing? Or do you feel that's a captured feeling?
That's what I would say. I don't know that
Okay.
they've ever, I mean, they've even said we're not afraid to spend money. Yeah, they've used those words.
Okay. All right. So you all do that same. Put it in your notepad, put it in chat, whatever you want, but do that for a second. Just do the exercise with me. So right there, you probably think about those things. You know those clients pretty well. You can probably think, I think David was one of them. You could probably
Mhm.
put the VR headset of David and think like him, couldn't you? That's marketing right there, everybody. So
Yep.
do the same with you. Think, okay, put the VR headset in and also the voice chip or whatever. Your favorite clients, okay, David, right? So I'm going to say Nathan. I put the headset on mine. I can hear Nathan talk. I can remember. I can think I know he's from Alabama. He uses these words. He doesn't get overcomplicated. He's right here. So I'm going to speak just plainly, directly to Nathan. But I could probably hear him if I thought, Nathan Ingram, what do you think about this? I could probably hear it. That's your messages. That's it. Do it in their language. So you just picked, here's my thesis on this experiment is you go, ideal clients, cool. Can I pick three, pick the best, be able to intuitively understand how they think, talk. Talk is the big one. You could probably ask some questions like, what do they have in common with the work they type of do for an agency owner? You know what? They're about 20 employees, roughly in a range. You probably have some commonalities in there. So then you just got a niche for your ideal client and you can put your headset on and speak like Nathan or David or whoever you had. So anyway, thanks for letting me digress, but I've been so eager to say this is how I've done it for 20 years. So really quickly in the year 2, 3, I heard about a guy named Nathan. Started learning about Nathan. He was helping out in the forums. And then I started getting to meet him. And now, one is I wanted the human friendship. Two is he was a paying customer. But three, I wanted to listen to how Nathan thought about the world. You know how many questions I've asked you over the years, Nathan?
A lot.
I'm personally interested in you, but I also go, man, I know how agency owners think. And then we pulled in through hosting.com, the person I think is our ideal client teaching, speaking, supporting. See what I mean? So that's just marketing, putting on the headset, three best people. Maybe you take the data a little different, skew it, push it over a little bit, add two extras or something. But that's what I've done for 20 years successfully.
Yeah. And this, gosh, we ought to do a whole live stream just on this. So just let me put this bow on the top. If your website as an agency just talks about the things you do, you're missing the boat. It's not marketing. People don't care. We have to think about what it is our client needs and explain to them in their own voice how we meet the needs that they have because they already know they have the needs. We just have to explain and show them what they're actually looking for.
Can I
Um,
add one thing since
yeah,
I'm wound up now? So here's part two, and you just hit on it. So if you want the fuller version, just go to get Donald Miller's story brand.
yeah,
Okay, that's fine. He's documented. He does a good job. I'm gonna give you the Cory Miller version. So I've got my headset on of Nathan, and there was many others over the 10 years of iThemes. And I think to myself, I sit back and I go, what's Nathan? I know Nathan. What's he trying to do? Well, I know things about Nathan too. And I go, man, most of the people like Nathan work from home, have children, have a flexible lifestyle. So agency owner only fits in this journey. You know, we talk about transformation, story brand's got it all. Okay. But here's the practical process. So now you got it in your head and you're thinking, you kick back and you go, but I don't really know Nathan. But now I know about him, my avatar, right? So I go, I'm going to walk in his shoes for a second. If I were Nathan Ingram, I would want to make sure to make so much money on a process that I could have more flexibility. And when I get bored, I want to have something else to do with my time, but I want a life. I want the life and bubble we have here in Oklahoma City. I want to be able to work from home, cut out, take my kids back, right? So now I've just walked in Nathan's shoes. That's a snippet of it, right? But do you understand where I'm flowing here? Is I'm trying to say, get as much data as you can, put the headset on, and then go, hold on, I'm going to step into Nathan. If I were an agency owner, if I were whatever your avatar is, if I were the nonprofit executive director, I'd be worried about my job, worried about money, worried about appeasing people. So you get up a level and you go, think about it. What are they just trying to do? What are they trying to get done? It's not buy your product. It's something bigger up here. And if you get that, that's what story brand is.
Yeah. So let me just encourage everybody, go back and listen to this piece again. If marketing and finding clients is a struggle for you, which I don't know who it's not for, go back and re-listen to this, because the nuggets that are in the last 10 minutes of this conversation can change your whole marketing approach and help you attract the kind of clients that you really want. And that's what we're all after, right? All right, let's get back to our next question, which comes from class. Oh, this looks like fun. All right, class. Question is about not losing SEO when moving to a new site. So the current website has information about Fred Flintstone speaking. Okay, this is class. We're going to guess this is a hypothetical, right? Of course. Bio, books, film about him, plus a blog. The URL is fred.com. They also use fredthemovie.com, which points directly to the main. Okay, so just redirects to the film page on the main website. Got it. Now the film is big enough that it's going to have its own website at fredthemovie.com. Well, that's really cool. The old site will remain at fred.com with speaking, book info, blah, blah, blah. The film pages and content on the old site will move to the new site. Plus, any blog posts specifically about the film will also move to the new website. The plan so far: create redirections for moved pages and blog posts on the current site to point to the same one on the new site. Good, yes. Add a banner on the old site that tells people the film isn't, okay, good. The new site contains links back to the old site for info, also good. What else can we do to help preserve or pass on SEO? So here's your problem, class. But from the technical perspective, you've got it covered. From the human element, you've got it covered. From Google's perspective, you're going to drop in traffic. You're just going to, because it's a new domain. It's not a new domain. How long has the current domain, or this .themovie.com, been around, class? 5 years. I mean, that'll help a little, but honestly, because this is going to be a new site with new content that Google ranks instead of just redirecting, it's going to drop. It just will. Now, hopefully with the redirects, you'll preserve some of that. And I am now currently at the level of my SEO knowledge. So you would definitely expect a drop, unfortunately. That might level out over time. But there's really nothing else you can do, because you're moving the content to a new domain. And there's not a lot else you can do about that. Eddie suggests creating canonical tags. Yeah, you could do that. That's actually, Eddie, that's not a bad idea. Um, I'm running this through my grid. That might be a really good suggestion, Eddie. Let's give Eddie a round of applause. Excellent. I think you're right, Eddie. So even leaving the content on the site as is, while also publishing the movie and letting people know the movie site exists. If you don't want SEO to drop, that's going to be the way to do it. Maybe there's a this is a kind of thing where you definitely want to reach out to an SEO person just to be sure. But maybe there's a process in this where you have the movie site live for a little bit, make sure it's indexed, and the canonical tags on the current site are pointing to that one, so some authority is inherited. And then after several months, for example, maybe you retire the pages on the current the main site and actually replace those with redirects. That might be the way to go, but I would not die on that hill. Any other insight for class on that one? Any SEO pros in here that want to speak up? Yeah, yeah. I would look into that class. I think that's likely your best approach.
Hey, I'm gonna take that question after and ship it to Daphne
Oh,
and
good.
get an answer back, and I'll put it in our Slack.
Yes. Okay. Another great reason to be in the agency success Slack channel. I'm going to drop that link again. Make sure you've joined up there at myagencysuccess.com. We'll get that answer for you, class, over there. That's great. Next up is Gene. Hey, Gene. A client wants to take down their website. They are moving in a different direction. Could you please walk through your process for doing this? Sure. I manage the site with a weekly security and maintenance plan, hosting, managing their domain. Most is billed monthly. The domains were just renewed in May. Do you advise them to maintain the domain names or release them? Okay. So the process is going to look different for everybody, but it's basically the opposite of your launch process. So all the things you're setting up in your launch process, you want to unset up as part of your pull the plug process. So for us, that looks like hosting environment, uptime monitors, external backup solution, WordPress dashboard, update dashboard, remove it from that. A number of other things, like we use a product that helps us watch for visual changes. We pull that. Yeah, so just whatever your onboarding process is, you need to reverse that. Removing them from your billing. For us, that would be pulling off the Stripe subscription and turning off the QuickBooks invoice that generates automatically. Just all those things. So does that help, Gene? What about the domains themselves? Should they maintain the domains or release them? So here, that's an educational conversation to have with the clients, because what will happen is when that domain expires, it is likely that somebody will snap that up. Some domain speculator will snap that up, and there'll be something now at that domain name that your client has no control over because they don't own the property anymore. So yeah, it depends on, do they care if whatever their .com is points to an adult entertainment site, in 6 months? That can happen. And you have no control over that because you don't own the property anymore. So just let them explain to them that potential issue and see if it's worth it to them to pay for it. It may or may not be. Jeffrey has a great point, downloading a static version for backup in case they change their mind. So that's a piece of the rolling it back thing that I didn't mention a minute ago. So like when we're launching a site, we're setting up a backup strategy. And so when we're unlaunching a site, whatever that last backup is goes into an archive folder in our Dropbox, so that if they ever want to relaunch, it's there. We can just pull it right back up. Stacy has a good mention. If you're mentioning the site in the portfolio, just so it doesn't, your portfolio doesn't link to a site that you'd rather it not link to. That's really good. Yeah. I think, Billy, when we talk about a static site, we're talking about a backup. I mean, you could go through and, download copies of pages, but that's a lot. I mean, in our process, we're using Cloudflare. If you toggle on that always online feature in Cloudflare, it's proactively pushing that site over to the Internet Archive at, webarchive.org or whatever it is. And so there's a copy out there for future reference anyway. Yeah. Okay, well, let's keep moving for the sake of time. Sherry is next. I have a website refresh with 3 custom post types, which are all blogs. I want to have a row where I can pin a featured article from each custom post type. I'm using Cadence Pro for the theme. Is this something I can do? Um, so what I would do for this, Sherry, is there'll be a post block in each one of those columns, and it would be like what you'd look for is the one post from that particular custom post type that has the tag or whatever pinned, and it'll be the latest one of those. And so you just have 3 different post queries, and it would show your latest pinned post there. Um, Without getting much more complicated, is that read to the bottom, of course. Pull dynamically the post. Can you choose a specific article? So I would do that with a taxonomy. Just make a tag called pinned or something. Manually pick. Yeah. So just create a tag called pinned or whatever. 3-row column, typical blog preview, featured image. Yeah. So I think my answer is solid on that one. Is there a piece of that I missed, Sherry? So like you go in and hit pinned and just in the post block, make sure it gets the latest post with the taxonomy pinned from that custom post type. Then you should be good to go. Yeah, so they publish a new post, they want to pin it. They can just hit pin. They don't have to unpin the other one because it's only going to grab the latest one. Yeah. So as long as you're using the taxonomy, that should work. They could pick whatever post they want and hit make it pinned, and it would stick there. All right, Tanya is next. Cory, what you're going to learn about Tanya is that she brings the funny, but also she has the most interesting clients in the world.
Love
So
to
here
hear
we go.
that.
Gremlin alert. Change the name servers for a domain on Bluehost, then set up WordPress.com on a new host. Okay. Site health started screaming about REST API and loopback 406 errors. Scheduled action failing, mod security screaming about Bluehost IP. Never had this happen before. Is it Gremlins or is Bluehost the king of caching? Needless to say, I have a new nickname for Bluehost and it's not very nice. Okay. All right. So this is definitely environment related. And I mean, my answer for this is that Tanya, you should bring them over to hosting.com on a managed WordPress server or your own server, VPS or dedicated server, and then you will not have the problem.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, there's no, this could be PHP issue. It's definitely an environment issue, and you're gonna have to go to Bluehost. Um, REST API may not be turned on the box. Maybe they turn that off for some reason. Loopback errors is a PHP generally issue with resources. Yeah, you're going to have to talk to Bluehost, unfortunately. That wasn't a shameless plug. That was a completely shameful plug. I mean, y'all. I mean, I've been a hosting.com customer for 2 years now. Back when it was A2 Hosting, and our dedicated server is there. We host 100 websites on it. It works great. We don't have issues. I moved there from Liquid Web 2 years ago.
We have a VIP team and Mike Demo here for you.
Yep. Okay. This is from Kay. Oh, this is a good question. All right. Which AI is the best for coding WordPress? Oh, this is okay. It's like, are you a Mac or a PC? I don't know. So let's do a vote in the chat. What is your favorite AI tool for doing coding on WordPress? Doug says depends on the day. Yes, okay. It's not going to be related to Mac or PC. It'll generally this will all be on the web, and most of the major AI platforms have Mac and PC apps. So yeah, a lot of votes for Claude. So I will say my answer is ChatGPT, just because I've used them for years. It knows a lot about me. I talked a lot about this, by the way, in the AI live stream we did earlier this month about when to choose certain models and when to choose certain versions of that model for different tasks. I generally spend my time in Chat GPT. However, Claude, I think, is better. I really do. Claude's, their later models, the new ones seem to be better at coding than others, just based on what I'm hearing from people doing development with it. Now, I will say this, the Chat GPT 5 is just around the corner. It's imminent. So it will likely leapfrog Claude. Like it's going to be like this. That's just the way it is. So have I tried Grok? I have not because well, I'm not going to say anymore. No, I have not.
Me either.
Okay. So Kate, does that help? All right, Stacy is next. A former client sent me an email asking if I knew of a way to add an accessibility tool to my website that allows website visitors to have my content read aloud to them. Yes. I explained accessibility was more about structuring the website properly so that people use screen readers could use it. I think she's actually looking for a text-to-speech plugin. Haven't used anything like this. Do you have a suggestion? I do. We have a client or an SEO person we work with that is um, doing this. Let me see if I can find that tool real quick. And it is on the blog posts. No, it's not. I can't find it. Chris, if you know the one I'm talking about, help me. It's not a oh, here it is. It's a stupid name. AIVOOV. Now, I haven't done a ton of research into this. I'm not recommending this one. I'm just saying that we have an SEO person that uses this on a site that we support. Okay. So don't say Nathan recommend. I'm not recommending this one. I'm saying that it's being used on a site that we manage and it seems to work okay. There's probably others or maybe better ones. But this basically will look at the page and it creates a text to speech. So, and I don't think it's terribly expensive. Um, it's not bad. Depends on how many characters you've got. It also loads the player with a script, and it doesn't impact speed. So they're thinking about something right there. All right. So there are others out there also, Stacy. So speaking of AI models, this will be a great deep research question for ChatGPT to answer for you. If you've got that higher level, just tell it what you're trying to accomplish and to compare tools like that, and it will spend 5 minutes thinking about it and give you a really thorough comparison. All right, next up is Beth Livingston. We're getting close to the top of the hour. We have this one and two more questions left, and I think we should be able to get them all in today. Beth Livingston, what analytics plugin do you use on most of your sites? I've tried following previous training from your former platform for SiteKit and have run into a lot of problems. Okay, time for me to get on a soapbox. I do not ever recommend using a plugin, a WordPress plugin, to connect your Google Analytics to a site. Full stop. Chris Malone, if you're in the chat, please explain why we don't do this. Oh, Chris is gone. Doggone it. I was going to get he had to deal with this. He's had to deal with it multiple times. Okay. Because even Google SiteKit, I've seen it inexplicably become disconnected from Google. And then all of a sudden your analytics code isn't being loaded. It's not being loaded and you don't get any alerts. You don't know. You're just like, analytics are gone. And there's no recovering that because the analytics never existed because the code wasn't on your site. Okay. Do not use a WordPress plugin to add Google Analytics tracking code to your site. Full stop. What you want to do is add that code manually, either in a custom functions plugin or in something like Fluent Snippets or whatever, where it's added, and do it that way. Because that way you know the code is there because you're putting it there. Or if your theme has header, footer, code sections, use that. But do not use a WordPress plugin to add your analytics code. Um, yeah, so Eddie's talking about rank math. Don't use any WordPress plugin unless it's like a block where you can paste your code in it. And even then, I wouldn't trust anybody else's plugin. Like I want my own code that adds the function and goes in the header and I can look at it. Because otherwise it could fall off and you will not know unless you're regularly looking at your client's analytics and you see it flatline. And the bad thing about Google Analytics 4, because it's not actually tracking real visitors, it's making guesses to get around privacy requirements. Uh, you don't see the traffic like before with standard Google Analytics. You'd see traffic up, and then boom, flatline immediately. Google Analytics 4 won't do that. It'll show a gradual tapering off to nothing. And you don't know that it's like, oh, why are we getting less traffic? And then it's 2 weeks later. Oh no, like our code's not showing up. So always add your scripts manually. I don't even know if that was the question. What analytics plugin do we use? So was that the question you were after, Beth? Like what do we use to add code to the site? I will say also, we really like independent analytics. I don't know if you've all seen this or not. It is free and it's really good. It's WordPress based analytics. It's first party cookie, so you don't have privacy concerns. And unless you're running a WooCommerce site or doing Google Ads, you don't even need the paid version. Like this does great unless you want WooCommerce or ad tracking. It is quite good. And they even have a lifetime deal. It's kind of expensive. They usually drop that down at Black Friday. But yeah, we like this one a lot. Okie dokie. It is easy to use, right? You literally just activate it, done. Can't get much easier to use than that. And you can run Google Analytics and independent analytics at the same time. It's interesting to see the comparison too, because sometimes there's a difference. And you get to really see how much Google Analytics 4 is extrapolating traffic data versus tracking real data. Okay, Doug is next. What is going on with Google Web Core Vitals? Aside from being the bane of my existence, why do my site pages disappear and reappear? I don't know. Let's see what your screen capture says. This is really dangerous, me clicking on somebody's link on a live stream. It's making me download this. Doug, are you sending malware to my computer? I know you, Doug. I don't think you would do that, but okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Oh, that's interesting. Um, huh. So my first, I don't use this a lot, okay? This Web Core Vitals site. Um, I'll show you what I use in a minute, but this looks like maybe Google didn't grab data from your site on those days. Um, is this in Search Console? Where did this come from, Doug? I will say this, Search Console has a lot of errant crawls. Like it sends weird messages sometimes, and one day it'll say there's 182 URLs that are bad, and then you go back a week later and they're all fine because it was an errant crawl. That happens all the time to sites that we manage. Um, so I don't know that I would worry about. I mean, I don't know that I would worry about this, Doug. If you are concerned about your performance, what you want to do is the best way to get a good live sense of where your site is speed wise is to open a guest profile, not incognito, guest profile in your Chrome browser. And again, you do that by clicking your little profile icon and choose Open Guest Profile. And once that's open, you can right click and inspect and go down here to Lighthouse, do your mobile score and say performance or whatever else you want to look at, and let it test it live right here. That's going to be the cleanest way to get a speed test. But yeah, Google Search Console, I am constantly having weird issues with that one. There's no speed optimization on this site. So that's pretty much what I would expect. But that'll tell you what it is right there. Now, the reason I wouldn't want to do it like in my regular profile is browser extensions. And these browser extensions will slow down a site. And they'll give you bad results on your speed tests. Okay. Is that good, Doug? Yeah. All right. Doris is next. Last minute question came in from Karen. We'll do that one and we'll call it a day after this. All right. Doris. Hey, Doris. The nonprofit site client wants a Google Workspace set up. Let's see, we talked about this one last week, right? I think. Anyway, they want to share large documents between board members. They want me to set it up, and I don't know anything about it. I also don't want to spend a lot of time learning this for one project. Does anyone here set up Workspace or know someone who does? Okay, great time for a connection point. If anybody knows a Google Workspace person or somebody that would help a nonprofit set up Google Workspace, this is a great use for the Slack channel. So let me, Doris, you are in the Slack channel. I know I've seen you there. So use the Slack channel, please, and communicate with Doris. You can start that conversation in the water cooler channel if you want, or actually, yeah, it's probably the best spot. Drop it in there. Is that good, Doris? Great. And by the way, bravo to you for realizing you don't want to do a kind of work and finding someone who will. It's really good. Oh, good. Yeah, so Karen can help you, Doris. Karen, are you in the Slack group? Give Doris a DM over there. That'd be great. And speaking of Karen, we'll wrap up with her question. Hey, Karen. Nathan, you recommended independent analytics. Is the free version worth it? Is it better than GA4? We like it. Now, that said, there's just a handful of sites that we have it on because possibly, hypothetically speaking, we might at one point in the past have used a Google Analytics plugin to add a Google Analytics tracking code to this particular site and lost Google data over time. And in order to appease the client, we also installed independent analytics so that if it ever happened again, we'd have traffic data. That's hypothetically, that might have been what happened in that situation. Generally, we only install Google Analytics 4, but we really like independent analytics. And honestly, especially for a site that has privacy concerns for one reason or another, location or field that the client is in or whatever, I would install it instead of Google Analytics. Because really, all clients are typically going to want is to see how many pages got viewed, right? What's my traffic like? And it does great at that. And the interface is beautiful and it's just right there and it's always going to work. So anyway, does that answer your question, Karen? Is the free version worth it? Yeah. I mean, it's free, right? Oh, come on. So we only use the free like the client that I mentioned earlier. We use the free version on their site, and it's great. It gives them all they want. They're not running WooCommerce and they're not running Google Ads. Those are the things that would push you into the paid version. And I mean, you can see the comparison right here, right? Like they do, like campaigns is like for Google Ads, setting up traffic campaigns, but everything else is the same. E-commerce analytics, UTM codes, those are the sorts of things that would push you into the paid version. Stacy, yes, on the site that I'm talking about, well, really, any site that we currently have independent analytics on, we also have Google Analytics 4 on. So let me maybe I can wrap it up like this. If what you're looking for are basic page view statistics, which is honestly what most clients are looking for, independent analytics, the free version is great right out of the box, and it'll just work. Now, the only other thing to consider is if it is a really high traffic site, um, all this stuff's in your database. All right. So it's pretty light, but it's going to be database hits when people visit the site because it's recorded in the WordPress database. So for a high traffic site, maybe you could see some speed issues, but you'd have to test that. That's the only other drawback. But for like a typical brochure site or whatever, it's good. Perfect. It's perfect for that. So does that help, Karen? Is that good? I do not use the paid version. Excellent. All right, everybody. Well, that brings us to the end of our list of questions for today. It's been another fun office hours here. The replays take a couple of days to get up, but we'll have those up on our YouTube channel, which it's just youtube.com/hosting.com, right? I need to get that link in my link bundle. Let me drop in one more time the bundle of links for our upcoming live streams, especially Tuesday's SEO for LLMs with Daphne from the hosting.com team. That's going to be awesome. And Systems Equal Success in a few weeks on Tuesday and August 19th. Thank you, Katie. Katie's got the link for our office hours playlist. So I'm going to save that. So I'll add it to my link bundle going forward. All right, folks. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Cory, any final thoughts as we're wrapping up here?
No, this is awesome. Thanks, Nathan. Thanks, everybody.
Great. All right, everybody. We'll see you back next week for SEO for LLMs here on Agency Success, where we go further together.